If weeks keep disappearing without your art income moving, this video is going to give you 3 weekly habits that actually shift the numbers. Finishing one piece, contacting 1 to 3 people about your work, and sharing one story about your art. We'll pull them together into something I call a weekly art business hour. Habit 1 is the least glamorous, but the most profitable and enjoyable. Finish one piece a week. Can't sell what's still half done on the shelf, and yet so many artists have stacks of nearly their work that never quite becomes available. For this habit, finished doesn't have to mean perfect. It means you've taken it as far as you honestly can right now. Edges, backs, and signatures are done. If needed, it's varnished or sealed. You've taken a decent photo and added it to your artwork list. Ask yourself at the start of the week, what's the one piece I'm going to move from in progress to available? Then make that the first thing you touch in your weekly art business hour. Every 20 to 30 minutes of focused finish this one time once a week adds up wonderfully fast over a year. The payoff is obvious. More finished work, clearly priced and ready to offer, instead of a guilty pile of almosts. So let's move on to habit 2. It's the one most people quietly avoid. Contact 1 to 3 people about your work every week. Sales don't come from shouting into the void. They come from real people who either buy from you or help your work reach the right eyes. Once a week, I want you to reach out to between 1 to 3 humans connected to your art. Not 50, not a big launch, just a small, kind reach out. For example, that might be sending a photo of a new piece to a past buyer. Thought you might like to see what I've been working on. Emailing someone who once said, I'll buy one day, with an update on what's available. Checking in with a local cafe, clinic, or shop you'd love to hang your work in. Messaging a past student about a new class you're planning. Here we're not begging or bothering. We're simply letting people who've already shown an interest know that your work exists and is available. Ask yourself each week, who already likes my work and what would a gentle next step look like to them? 1 or 2 of those small messages repeated every week do far more for your income than any other hour of silent scrolling. If you already have an email list, then fantastic. Definitely utilize this to inform your people of your work. Now we move on to habit 3, which is to share one story about your work every week. Stories are so important as it's how people remember you. Not algorithms, not perfect grids. Stories that encourage connection. Once a week, in one chosen place, I want you to share something about your art that helps people feel closer to it. That might be a behind the scenes moment in the studio, the story behind one piece in your collection, a before and after of a commission, or a simple reflection like, here's what this week in the studio has really looked like. Pick your main place for this: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, a simple email list, whatever feels least awkward for you and where your likely buyers hang out. Then ask, if I could only share one thing about my art this week, what would actually matter to my people? That becomes your one weekly story. It keeps you in people's minds without having to live online. Now let's pull these 3 habits into your weekly art business hour. Your weekly art business hour is a single block in your calendar where you protect time for these 3 income moving actions. Finish one piece, contact 1 to 3 people, and share one story. Here's a simple version you can steal or tweak. 15 to 20 minutes, finish something. Choose the piece closest to done. Tidy edges, sign, varnish if needed. Take a good photo and update your artwork list so you know it exists. In 15 to 20 minutes or so, contact 1 to 3 people. Look at your people and projects list or think of recent interest. Send 1 to 3 messages or emails that move conversations forward. 15 to 20 minutes. Share one story. Write and post your weekly story or draft a short email you can send later that day. That's it. Around 45 to 60 minutes once a week. If that feels like too much in one go, then you can split it into 20 or 30 minutes on 2 different days. The structure stays the same. What matters is that each week these 3 boxes get ticked, because those are the boxes that quietly lead to more finished work, more invitations, more sales. Let's turn this into a 30-day experiment rather than a new rule you beat yourself up with. For the next month, here's what I suggest. Week 1, design your hour. Choose when your weekly art business hour will happen. Decide where you'll keep track of your finished pieces, people to contact, and stories shared. Offline in a folder or online in a document. That's in its own folder is what I'd suggest. Write down a simple checklist. Finish one piece, contact 1 to 3 people, share one story. Then in week 2, run it once. Protect that block in your calendar. Run the hour as best you can. At the end, jot down what felt easy, what felt sticky. Then in week 3, repeat and tweak. Run the same hour again. If something keeps getting skipped, shrink it. Make the goals ridiculously small if you need to. Half finishing a piece, one message, one very short story. Week 4, review and decide. Ask yourself, did more work actually get finished? Did I speak to more humans about my art? Did I feel more connected to my art business, even on a wobbly week? Then decide whether to keep the structure, simplify it, or adjust the timing. If 30 days feels fast, stretch the experiment over 6 to 8 weeks. The point isn't perfection. It's to prove to yourself that even in a busy, imperfect life, you can have this small weekly rhythm that supports your art income. So if I was starting again at 50 with fluctuating energy and a real need for my art to help pay the bills, how would I set up my weekly art business hour? Here's exactly what I'd do. I'd pick one quietish time, probably a 45-minute block on a Tuesday morning. I decide that every week in that block, I will move one piece from in progress to available and add it to my artwork list, contact 2 people, one past buyer or warm lead, and one potential venue or student. Share one honest story about my art in my main online place, always with a simple next step for people who are interested, your call to action. I wouldn't worry about doing more until that felt normal. I'd run the same pattern for at least 2 to 3 months before I judged it, because those small, repeatable moves are what stack up into sales, not one giant heroic push every 6 months. If this helped you see your week in a calmer, more practical way, I'd love to know where you're starting from. Tell me in the comments how old you are and what day and time are you going to try your weekly art business hour.